CP.
Are you serious? He's gone. 40, 30, Portis all the way. Touchdown Redskins, 64 yards.
26 minutes.
He's pretty sharp. He'll coach you up on the Miami guys and everything else. He's kind of fun to be around. Got an opinion too.
I've been blessed to have the opportunity to go out and be myself and say the things that I say. And for the outside world, they can deal with it how they deal with it.
26 minutes with Clinton Portis. CP. Teach him something.
CP, Meineke, Jake, my Minute Mates, we're all here. This week, we have some great topics for you all. Matter of fact, thank you all the fans for getting us to episode 6. Continue your downloads, continue your interest. It's great. We love the feedback, so thank you for everything. Now, let's get right to the show. Meineke, Jake, we're going to talk about the Skins. In a bye week, they move into first place in the NFC East.
Didn't have to do anything.
Didn't have to do anything but go on vacation. Why can't we vacation all the time?
Must be nice.
It was very nice.
Must be nice.
I actually got some free time too. It was nice to have like a weekend, especially after training camp. You're working so hard. I know it'd be a little bit easier if it was mid-season, but an early bye week is still a bye week.
Moving into first place, NFC East.
Okay, so Monday night they're back in action. We get to see how legit that is. I think when you look at the NFCs this year, Philly hasn't really gotten into their rhythm, right? Mm-hmm. The Cowboys look crazy. Well, not great. The Giants look worse, in my opinion. And so I think that they very easily, not easily, but they could legit finish on top.
Yeah, but like a lot of people would say the Skins haven't really gotten into their rhythm.
And I would agree with that.
You're figuring it out, and you're 2-1 at this point. So if the Skins are 2-1 and other teams are losing games while they're figuring it out, imagine once they hit that stretch where they feel like they're hot or they have figured it out.
I think you're absolutely right. But of the teams in the division, the team that I think hasn't hit their stretch and probably would be the most competitive is still the Eagles. Mm-hmm. Like, you got to get Carson Wentz back all the way into the rotations rhythm. Like you said, we could argue we kind of got the same thing going on here. I think it's going to be an exciting season. I'm excited.
Eagles gave up 3 fourth downs to the Titans in that final drive in overtime, and they couldn't do it. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of struggles, I think, with every team right now. And I think the Redskins are looking at this division. They're saying, all right, we've only played 3 games, and I think that's where the cautionary optimism is, because it's, there's not a huge sample size yet. But you look at this division and you say, well, look, if we can beat up on them, we can beat up on these guys in our division. We played twice. They haven't played anybody.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. We still have 6 divisional games. We still get to play the Eagles twice, Cowboys twice, Giants twice. If you get an opportunity, because in the competition is the same for the NFC East. So if you get an opportunity to beat these teams that they're losing to, you got to think these other teams are going to get a lot better and healthier as well. They still have to face these same NFC East opponents. So I think that gives us an edge up, and the fact that you play in your division. So if everybody in the division go 3-3 against each other, you're still up. Let's knock on wood that we don't go 3-3 in the division.
So let me ask you this though, then, CP. About what point in the season should you be fully in your stride? Like, the conversation is no more, we're getting acquainted with Alex Smith still.
Well, everyone is different. Like you said, the Eagles getting Carson Wentz back, Alshon Jeffrey's just returning, their running back is banged up. Defensively they're going to get some guys back. So they're going to get into a rhythm. Maybe they don't. Maybe they can't reclaim that magic because people have figured Doug Peterson's offense out. Then you look at the Cowboys, who the Cowboys are winning games by like the skin of their teeth, and that running game and passing game, like your quarterback can't go the entire season throwing for 250 yards. It's not like they have the top defense in the NFL. So I think their struggles are going to continue. The Giants are the wild card because the Giants have the weapons, but Eli Manning missing, like, when you go back to film breakdown, a lot of the things that Eli Manning normally gets off, he's like so gun shy with the ball in hand because of the offensive line that he's not releasing the ball. So it's only a matter of time before OBJ go crazy, which is going to lead to someone else reacting. You already know the defense can go 8 wire. So I think that team has a lot of internal to figure out. Whereas you're looking at the Redskins, this is the first time in forever the Redskins haven't had negativity surrounding or something going on that overshadowed whatever. Last year, for the longest, it was Kirk. And then it was prior to that, RG3. So now this is probably the quietest it's ever been at Redskin Park.
Although I will say, you look at last year, and they were in a similar situation. They were 2-1. They just had a big win against the Raiders. And it was a Monday night game they played next against the Kansas City Chiefs. They lost that game by a hair. And after that, they started mounting up injuries, and the season kind of spiraled a little bit.
But I think
they're in a better spot.
I think you got so much younger from last year to this year. I think it's a total different team. And plus, having that experience last year, having the opportunity to crash and burn, I think even for Coach Gruden, you don't put yourself back in that situation, and you have so many more playmakers. When you look at the defensive side of the ball, which you're going to have to win with, on the defensive side of the ball, they have so many more guys that's contributing. So the guys who contributed last year haven't even shown up to work yet. Preston Smith, Kerrigan, Brown, I haven't heard these guys' names, so you know they're coming. And when you look at everything else, like Meineke, when you look at the power rankings of the NFL, you think first place NFC East, but the power rankings, where are they?
Scrolling. Is that an actual question?
In your eyes.
A lot of them have them still in the mid-teens, I'd say. I think generally they're in that ballpark.
I wouldn't say mid-teens. I would probably say, it's 32 teams. So mid-teams, I don't think they're a top echelon. I don't think they can beat the Chiefs or the Rams. They're not of that caliber. But you're about to play a good team, a good offensive team, to see where your defense really stands, because you've been riding defense. Your defense has shown up week in, week out against better quarterbacks in the NFL, and it's not getting any easier. You get to see Drew Brees.
This is where to find out if the defense is for
this
real.
week's power rankings, ESPN, Washington Redskins 19.
Your power rankings. I'm asking you, where do you feel like they are?
And so this is where you guys have been in this area for a long time. I think this is where you have to separate DC fan and then look at this year's roster, this year's talent. I'm not going to say that this is a top 4, top 10 team in the league just yet, right?
I totally agree.
But I think this team, if it holds, and again, we're still working on a small sample size, but they're defending solid this year. I think Alex Smith really brings what Jay Gruden wanted. Obviously, that's why they teamed up. I think this team I think this is a playoff team when I look at the potential of this group.
It's certainly a possibility when you look at now this division, and I think there's a lot of opportunity for the Redskins to make the playoffs. I'm still a little bit cautious, only because it's only been 3 games, and they did come out flat against the Colts. I think that's more of an exception than what is a feature of this team. So in that sense, I'm going to go like 12, 13, 14 right now out of the league. And look, they're 2-1, and not many teams are 2-1, have a winning record right now.
Well, as you said 3 games, 4 games. So this is week 4. After 4 weeks, the position that we're not in is a position that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are in. The coach comes out and say they should fire everyone. Guess who he started with? Fitzmagic. He already fired Fitzmagic after carrying them to a 2-1 start. All of a sudden, Fitzpatrick no longer the starting quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Going to a bye week, you bring back Jameis Winston, insert him into the lineup. Already a huge shakeup in Tampa. I'm glad we're not in that position.
I've not been a big fan of Dirk Cutter. When I watched him on Hard Knocks last year, I just felt like the vibe that team had, and I think they were a little bit cocky going into the season, and it just kind of imploded on them a little bit. But I think he was almost trying to save the defensive coordinator's butt a little bit, because you look at what the Bears did. Mitchell Trubisky did against the Tampa Bay defense.
That was a coming out party.
Man,
5 touchdowns in the first half.
What is happening?
That's not a Bears team that should be doing that right now, at least.
Well, they did it.
So of course the conversation is like, are the Bears the real deal following that, right? And so everybody obviously sings the Bears their praise for their defense. Khalil Mack, wow.
Well, Khalil Mack is having an MVP type season. He's playing lights out.
No doubt that. But I think the coming out party is nice, and I'm not going to put that performance in the same category of like a Fitzpatrick. But I don't see that's obviously not going to be our norm.
No.
So like, what? Are the Bears a real deal?
But CP, when you hear a head coach, let's say you hear your head coach say that, everybody should be fired after this game. I don't know what the vibe is going into the next week then.
Well, the vibe is they're going into a bye. It's a bye week for them. But when you hear your coach say this and then bench your quarterback that got you into that position, it wasn't the quarterback's fault. Even like he got benched during the game. After halftime, Winston came out and played. I'm not sure if you watched this game, but that had nothing to do with him. Pressure on the quarterback and defense giving up 5 touchdowns to a quarterback, Trubisky, in the first half. But you get a scapegoat in benching Fitzpatrick.
Right, but that was
and
coming
then you
anyway.
kind of come out and say, fire everybody to cover up for it. Like, it wasn't Fitz's fault. So I think you actually lose the locker room. You don't have a running game. They haven't had a running game in a long time. So you don't have a running game, been in this situation, and you're like, fire everybody right before they go into break. Guess what? We're going to go into break too. We'll continue this conversation, segment 2, when we return.
Look at that smooth transition.
That was so smooth.
Helping people improve their lives is what should drive business. That's the belief at Koch Industries, which employs more than 65,000 people across America. The team at Koch works together to meet the world's changing needs in transportation, medical care, water filtration, household goods, energy-efficient building products, and everyday technologies, all while consuming fewer resources. See the innovations firsthand at kochindustries.com.
Segment 2, we got some great topics coming up on 26 minutes. Number 1 topic, this has been floating around like I couldn't wait to get to discuss this with you all. Earl Thomas injury. All offseason, all the negativity saying, you know what, if I'm going to be the best safety in the NFL, I deserve to be paid. If you're not going to pay me, then trade me. They didn't get an opportunity to trade him before he goes out and break his leg. As he's been carted off the field, immediately he let Seattle know how he feel about them. Shoot the entire sideline a bird. What happened in Seattle? And then before you answer what happened, the effect. Now does Le'Veon Bell holdout makes more sense to people? Is it clarity for people? Do more people understand why Le'Veon refused to come back and touch the field?
There's a lot of questions there, but I think I go back to last week. I was talking to Adrian Peterson, and I was having a discussion with him and Trent Williams about their time together here. And Adrian said at the very end, you know, if you will it in your mind, sometimes it does happen. Reality will happen. And he was talking about them finally playing together. You know, Trent and AP had been longtime friends and wanted to finally play together. I felt like Earl Thomas, he's constantly thinking about, man, I don't want to play for this team. I want to get out. I just want to get paid or get out. I want to, and that constant, it's almost maybe not necessarily karma, but just some kind of energy out of that. And I think that manifests in what he was feeling as soon as he gets injured. Like he was almost ready for that to happen. Yeah. Because when that is always on your mind and you're ready to just lash out at everybody on the sideline like that, you're already, before you're injured, thinking, boy, if I get injured, I know exactly what I'm going to do, and I'm going to be really pissed. And like, not to say that that's why it happened, of course, but I think there's something that he's been feeling for a long time, obviously, and when he decided to play, that's what came out.
So I agree with you, but I think if you feel that, then honor that. Like, Le'Veon Bell is still at home, and so when you hear athletes talking about coming back from injuries or playing through injuries, one of the top things is just mentally getting over that hurdle. So there probably is something to what you're saying in terms of Earl knowing his likelihood to maybe possibly be injured. And so then it happens, boom, floodgates are open in terms of all this emotion. But I think also that probably was maybe, and CP, you could argue, maybe he's even kicking himself because he knew better than to give in. Like, if you're going to hold out. I mean, that's where we are in 2018. I definitely think it puts more perspective on what Le'Veon Bell is doing.
Well, I think just from a player's perspective, this happens to me. Earl got hurt last year as well. And then you're like, I want the security of saying you're going to be around. Then you get hurt early 2 seasons in a row. This is the end of my career. This is what reminds me of the end of my career. I go down with the concussion week 8 against the Atlanta Falcons. Then I come back. Everyone is already afraid, because the awareness that was being paid to the concussions. So every time that I do something, if I go in like, oh man, my finger hurt, they're like, oh, how's your head? If I go in like, oh man, my ankle hurt, they're like, how is your head? So all of a sudden I begin to think, why do they keep asking me about my head? Like, this is not the first time that I've been knocked out. This is not the first time that I've had a concussion. And all of a sudden the awareness of concussions come out. So now I go into the season and I'm thinking, like, I got to make sure I don't get hit. So now I'm playing safe because it's so much awareness. It's so much this and that. So I'm trying to, instead of playing reckless abandonment without any fear, I'm thinking, well, I can't take another shot like that. And all of a sudden I go out and I tear my groin.
You do get hurt,
and,
right.
And that's week 3 against the Eagles. I tear my groin and I'm trying to rush back. I want to be on the field. Like, I've spent all this time recovering and away from football. Like, I want to be out here on the field, and now I got to deal with this injury, which wasn't season ending when it first happened. I go get the PRP, I'm out 4 weeks, and I come back and I'm trying to get on the field, and Coach Shanahan say, you know what, I really want you to wait another week until our home game instead of playing at Tennessee. And I said, no, like, I'm not waiting. I'm ready to play. I'm ready to be on the field, because prior to that, we had just got embarrassed by the Eagles on Monday Night Football, and Michael Vick exploded and had a Techno Bowl game. So now I'm trying to rush back onto the field. I come back to Tennessee. I feel great. I think, well, I'm ready. I haven't had contact in 5 weeks since this injury. And all of a sudden, I break down the sideline where I'm feeling great, fine, dandy, and someone leg swiped me. And now it pops again. And me just having that will, like, nah, this is not it for me. I'm going back in. I'm showing you I'm tough enough. I'm ready to play. I go out the next offensive series, and the first step I take, it was like, and at that very moment, football changed. Like, that desire and fire to come back from injury and fight through this and do that. Like, this is 2 years in a row that I've been sidelined. Now you got to go through an entire offseason and do it all over again and come back. Like, you're fighting for a position that you shouldn't be fighting for. Like, in Earl Thomas' mind, you look at Le'Veon Bell, you look at these guys, why am I fighting to prove to you what I'm capable of doing? You know what I'm capable of doing. You've seen my work. You've seen my body of work week in, week out. You know what I'm going to give you, but instead you pay someone else.
So it blows, right? But perhaps this was some sort of manifestation of the uncertain or the unknown. But on the other end, this is exactly why Seattle was holding out too, right? So I don't know if that makes it right or wrong, but like,
right. Well, I think that's why every NFL team does.
Yeah.
I mean, so trade me. So if you're worried about me, as he said when he was healthy, a week prior to getting hurt, he just had 2 picks, and looking at Dallas sideline like, this is what you missed out on. This is what you should have came and got for a second-round pick.
But he's entering free agency, right? This year, so,
but now you're entering free agency. You're still not getting what you're worth.
But does any team really want to invest again if they know that the same thing could happen to them as well? I mean, he's not playing the safety. You have a lot of opportunities to get hurt. You're making tackles and running a lot more full speed contact because you're 20 yards out the line of scrimmage and then making hits too.
Well, if any team decides to invest or not, someone is going to have to pay bills. Right now, you got to pay the bills.
We got to pay the bill. I want to tell you a little bit about our friends at your local D.C. area Meineke Car Care Centers. Great place to everything you need done to keep your car on the road. It is so important to maintain your car, and there are 19 Meineke Car Care locations in the greater Washington, D.C. area to help you do so. And now through October 31st, you can get up to a $100 Visa gift card when using your Meineke credit card with a purchase of $499 or more. You can see all the rules and regulations for this offer on Meineke.com. So don't get sidelined by car trouble this season. Sign up for Meineke Rewards to receive free towing to your nearest Meineke location, where their team of total car care experts can get your car back on the road. Save time by booking online at Meineke.com. Meineke, on with life. And everybody's playing to get to the big game. It's the ultimate goal. the game of games, the hottest ticket in town. It's the Virginia Lottery's Win-A-Spin live show. 8 lucky winners of the Win-A-Spin Scratcher will get the chance to spin the big prize wheel to win a guaranteed $100,000 to $500,000, and they'll get to do it live at Virginia Lottery headquarters. So if you want to get to the big game, the Big Wheel live show, here's what you have to do. Scratch the Win-A-Spin Scratcher to find a spin code that you'll enter online. If you enter online code reveals a Big Wheel message, you've made it. You're going to the lottery headquarters to spin the big wheel in front of a live audience on Facebook. Oh, and you're spinning to win a guaranteed prize of $100,000 to $500,000. If you want the glory, you got to get off the bench. So get your touchdown dance ready and visit your local lottery retailer and ask for the Win-A-Spin Scratcher today. Top prize odds in Win-A-Spin are 1 in 918,000.
I'm trying to meet that boy Clint Portis, though. They say that boy, they say he's smooth on his feet. I'm trying to teach him something.
Teach him something.
Teach him something.
My teach him something would be to let you all know the answers to these questions that Jake have.
I wasn't sure how that was about to go.
All right, we got some Ask CP questions. A lot on Instagram this week, so thanks for sending them in. The first one is from JD Lau 21. Clinton, which player on defense has surprised you the most this season?
Player that surprised me the most on defense, Dunning, hands down. Dunbar instantly. The pressure was placed on him week 1. I think he came away with a pick, and everyone was excited this offseason about Dunning. You know, you bring in Skandrick, and it was kind of like, well, what are you going to do with Dunning? All of a sudden, you cut Skandrick. Everybody's like, why did they do that? You see why. Dunbar.
Next question from Tim Lovesica. Who was your favorite lineman to run behind?
Chris Samuels. That's the easiest question I've ever had to answer. Chris Samuels was one of my favorite teammates, favorite players, favorite lineman, favorite everything. He was just a great dude, tough individual, and you know his career was cut short prematurely as well.
Mm-hmm. This next one is from Ben Piotr 65. What coach in your time as a player had the biggest impact or the strongest influence on you?
That would be hard because it was different stages. So you look at high school and you say, you know, Coach Spalding, you know, J.D. Spalding gave me an opportunity and believed in me. Or you're talking about the coaches that believe in you in high school to put you, I mean, J.D. Spires, I said J.D. Spalding. So Coach Spires, who worked with me on the football field and track. Then you look at college and you think about Coach Solinger and everything he instilled. Then I get to the NFL and you think about Bobby T, because you spend more time with your position coaches throughout football. And then playing for Joe Gibbs, like legendary Joe Gibbs, a man of all men, the way he carries himself, the way he holds everyone to higher standards without any judgment. It's just open to whatever your mistake was, whatever you are in life, like you can change, and he's inspiring you to do that change or to be that change.
Yeah. Last one for today. This one comes from Lex_Len26. Why do you think the Redskins struggle as a team to finish games? Is it the play calling?
Well, I just think you're so used to losing. Like you haven't got that killer instinct because you've been playing in close games and you come out on the wrong side. So now you're developing that mindset, that instinct. You got a lot of kids that's coming from colleges that's used to winning. You look at all of these Alabama kids that we have now. When you start to bring in winners and then all of a sudden they start to get contagious, now you know how to finish games. Whereas prior to that, we had guys kind of from schools that were 50-50, maybe they have a good year, but they're used to losing. And in the back of your mind, if you have that loser's mentality, it's like, here we go again. When you got that winner's mentality, it's totally different. It's, you know, like, put this on me. I want this moment. And until you get a lot of guys who want that moment, you're going to be in that position.
That's a good point. I think that is especially true when Doug Williams was talking a lot about bringing in Alabama players. These guys know how to win.
Yeah, that's it. You want to bring a winner.
Self-fulfilling prophecy was the word I wanted on Earl Thomas earlier, but it also applies here too. I was like, there's a term for this. I couldn't think of it. That's it.
Well, thank you for your questions. Remember, hashtag AskCP on Twitter, and then you can also find them on Instagram as well.
Yeah, thank you for your questions. You can find me on Instagram. You can find Meineke. You can find Jake. You can find 26 Minutes on every platform available: iTunes, Google Play, Redskins.com. But right now, I'm going to ask Monica the best thing she saw this week.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so this week, I think my honorable mention, y'all know I always take two, would be Andrea Kramer and Hannah Storm, Amazon Prime streaming Thursday night game. I think that's super dope for history. I'm looking forward to the time when this is an afterthought. We're not even really tripping about it. But for now, you got to give that a shout out. Pretty incredible.
For sure.
But then, my favorite things are usually the articles. Bleacher Report, there was a pretty dope article about the NBA. I know I'm jumping a little bit off brand, but talking about, is the social media culture in the NBA actually toxic? And JJ Redick talks very candidly about it, how he deleted his platforms, and is this thing out of control? And I'm all for mindfulness, so I think that was one of the better articles that I read this week.
Cool. All right, best thing I saw this week actually happened 2 nights ago. There's a movie coming out, I'm sure you've seen it, called A Star is Born this week. I saw it early.
I think you're right about this.
I saw an early screening of it on Monday. Incredible movie. Little melodramatic, little cheesy in some spots, but Lady Gaga, if you ever wondered if she could act, she's been in some other TV shows before and in some other movies, but this was her big breakout, and she is incredible. So if you get a chance to see a movie this fall, highly recommend A Star is Born.
It has been getting lots of rave reviews.
Yes.
Yeah,
Lots of
I've
memes on the
always been
internet, too.
a huge fan of Bradley Cooper anyway. So
Georgetown guy, shout out to Coop.
Directorial debut for Bradley Cooper.
Yeah, I'm sure that's going to be awesome. So the best thing I saw this week would be, just to capitalize, I would rather comment on you guys. I love movies, so going to see Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga, even for the social media posts. I think so many of today's society is stuck on social media. It's like, let me see what I'm doing. I've texted some players during games, and I hate to say this, like I've sent a text just for something that I've saw during the game and get a response at halftime or something. So not on this team, not just this team, just period. Like if I'm giving someone a tip or a pointer that I have replies to. So I really think that's the first thing players do. Like you're so stuck to this phone now. Like everyone is so stuck to this phone that it takes away, because you want to see what people are saying. And to find out what people are saying, the only thing that ever stand out in conversation is negativity. So you're rushing to make sure no one is being negative about what you're saying, because you don't even pay attention to, oh, great shot, or you're doing a good job, or you're D'ing him up. What you pay attention to is, oh, you gave up that layup, you should have stepped in the way. Like, you don't pay attention to the positive. So what's the rush? Even when you see Steph Curry already know he's shooting lights out. So why am I picking up my phone to see if you're saying good shot? You're picking up my phone to see the negativity. So stay away from it. That's what you're looking for.
This should have been in Teach Him Something. Teach him how to do social media right.
That was Teach Him Something. This entire thing was Teach Him Something, and I taught you everything, like downloading episode 6 of 26 minutes. That's our time today. Monica McNutt, Jake Crin-Strifles. Join us next week, episode 7.
Are uninvited pests ruining your plans? Let PMSI, the pest control partner of the Washington Redskins, handle it for you. Call today for your free inspection, and they'll work around your schedule to provide you the best solution possible to defend your home territory against pests of all kinds, including mold. Visit mypmsi.com for the game plan to control the pests on your home turf. That's mypmsi.com.
Hey, it's Jake with your Redskins 365 update. The Redskins are back to football this week after a productive bye week in which they now sit alone atop the division. You can check out what Alex Smith had to say about his relationship with Drew Brees on Redskins.com as Washington gets ready to head to New Orleans. That matchup takes place Monday night on ESPN starting at 8:15 Eastern. Perry Mattern and I will get you set pregame at 7:30 on Redskins.com and Facebook Live.